Already. All right, video number 4. This should be the last one for chapter 24. On the last one, we talked about doing the hypothesis test. And so I'm going to walk through that whole thing. We assume that the two means are equal to each other. However, I believe that the mean for the generic battery life is greater than the mean for the brand name battery life. So the name of this test is the 2-sample t-test for means. And you'll notice my alpha level is a little funky on this one. It's 2.5%, 0.025. Reason why I did that is on the last video, we did a 95% confidence interval, and the corresponding one-sided alpha was 2.5%. So that means our p-value is going to need to be less than 2.5% to reject. Because if you remember, we rejected on the last one because 0 wasn't in the interval. So I did not define my variables, sorry about that, but we would say let mu sub g be the mean battery life of generic batteries, and mu sub b be the mean battery life of brand name batteries. So the conditions here, we have the independent groups condition, which is actually an assumption. So we can't prove anything there. There's no work to do. So I'm just going to write down that the samples are independent from each other. The two groups are independent from each other. Random, not stated random, but I believe samples, 2 samples, to be representative. 6 is, for both, I wrote it twice here. 6 is greater than 10% of generic batteries, and 6 is, less than 10% of generic batteries, and 6 is less than 10% of brand name batteries. And then the nearly normal condition, both histograms are unimodal and symmetric. The mechanics, I didn't have my calculator, so I couldn't do all the mechanics, but you need to have the degree of freedom for sure. You need to have both of your Y bars. You need to have your T, and I did this last week. I'm pretty sure the p-value is around 1.3, 1.5, I can't remember, but I know it was around 1 point something, which is less than 2.5. So my conclusion says that since my p-value is under my alpha, I will reject the null. There is sufficient evidence, because whenever we reject, there's sufficient evidence. So you can think about that when you're doing the multiple choice questions. When they ask you, was there sufficient evidence? Was there insufficient evidence, right? Just think of the p-value. If the p-value was below the alpha, then there was sufficient evidence. If the p-value was above the alpha, then there was insufficient evidence. Nothing new as far as stuff we've done in the past. So there's sufficient evidence to show that the mean generic battery life is greater than the mean brand name battery life. So there is the 2-sample t-test, and then right down here, if Hayden, you want to get closer there, that's from Landon. That is a dinosaur in the rain. And I know most of you probably got that already, but that's what that is. So anyway, that's basically chapter 24. If there's anything else that I can think of, I'll make another video there. Next week, I'll do some stuff on chapter 25. Please remind me if you have any questions, or email me with any questions. I will get those answered for you, and we will get through this. All right? I love you guys, but I'm not in love with you. And always, always, always
do the right thing.
That's right, Hayden. Good job. Bye.